So where were we? Which page number?
119.
Oh, still in 119, eh? Oh, long back. Okay. So ABCD, no? So the functions of these 4 points are critical. Darji said. They are closely connected to the heart and is largely the heart is largely responsible for our mental and emotional state. Now, whenever we react to something with like or dislike, specific vibrations emerge at point C. Underline Markulre. So likes and dislikes is point C. You can actually feel them. I hope people will try to notice it. Now, depending on the intensity of our reaction and the nature of its vibration, a ripple effect is created. That ripple takes those vibrations from point C to point ABD. Point A is associated with material life, so whenever our reaction concerns a worldly like or dislike, the vibrations at point C ripple to point A. As a result, point A becomes disrupted. What happens when point A is disrupted? I asked. Suppose you see a beautiful apartment and say, "What a nice apartment," said Daji. That feeling of liking makes a slight, rather light impression. As a result, the vibration at point C is also light and its ripple effect to point A, the seat of material desires, is weak. But then you brood over this thought and think, "I would like to stay in this apartment." Now the vibration at point C becomes a little stronger and it's also reflected at point A. You brood over it even more and become insistent. "I have to have this apartment," you think. Now that disturbance becomes very big and your emotional state becomes extreme. You are now fixated on fulfilling that desire. You may also be worried about not satisfying it. In either case, you become restless, and that restlessness robs you of your peace. ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ಯೋ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ
I just went because I heard something there.
ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗಣೇಶನ್ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರು ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿದೆ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹ? ಆಯ್ತು So did you see that particular example is pretty good. That's how actually we create more and more samskaras. When we add more energy to the likes and dislikes and modify it into a very insistent desire, there's nothing wrong with the likes or dislikes. At a milder level, it does not create much of samskaras. We don't need to worry about it. So if somebody is beautiful, it's okay to appreciate it. If somebody is not so good, something is not so good, it's okay to say that it's not so good. So, in other words, having an opinion at a milder level does not actually create too much of samskaras. It's okay. We cannot be fully devoid of likes and dislikes. Definitely, as human beings, as long as we have the five senses and we have the feelings, we will feel certain things that we feel we like, and there are certain other things that we might not like. Now, when we strongly express these likes and dislikes about the worldly things, that goes towards point A. The same strong likes and dislikes, if it's about point sexuality or sexual desires, it goes to point B. So we'll read about that. Okay. So point D is about things that you should have done but you didn't do, things that you should not have done. That's about point D, which is about guilt. Okay. So guilt is for two things. For things that you do as mistakes. That is one reason why you feel guilty. Second reason is you should have done something but you chose not to do. That also creates guilt. Okay, two things. Now look at point B. This point B is associated with sexuality. Whenever we react according to sexual urge, its vibrations from ripple C, point C ripple to point B. This arouses a feeling of passion. So underline these two things, sexuality and passion, point B. Now point D is the guilt point. When we ignore our conscience, guilt forms at point D. The effect of the guilt is extreme heaviness in the system, underline. When you feel guilty, how is it experienced? It creates extreme heaviness in the system. Guilt not only arises because of our wrong actions, but also because of our inactions. Yeah. So we'll have a question in the exam. Guilt arises out of actions only. True or false? Wrong actions only to confuse you. So answer is false because it is out of wrong actions also, out of some inactions also. For instance, suppose that you are a doctor and you see an injured person by the side of the road, yet you continue on your way. Let someone else help them, you think. The next day you read in the newspaper that the person died. Nobody stopped to help you, to help them. I think that this guilt will halt all your life, and the guilt arising from inaction is somehow more poignant than the guilt resulting from wrong actions. Poignant means some much more destructive. So it has more negative impact. So the guilt arising from inaction is far more impactful than guilt arising from wrong actions. So that's also another one mark question that you may get. Which is more poignant? Guilt arising out of inactions versus guilt arising out of wrong actions. The vibrations that are present in points A, B, C, D gradually settle or condense, producing what Babuji referred to as grossness. So vibrations at the different points gradually condense, like the milk condenses, no, as you heat it, it condenses into something more hard, solid. Likewise, these vibrations gradually settle on these points and then they condense to form grossness. These points can only handle so much grossness. They become saturated. You see, when these points cannot handle any more grossness, the grossness evaporates and lands at yet another point, which we need not discuss right now because it's another subject altogether. However, the result is that we experience a cascade of psychological and emotional effects. So the gateway of samskara formation ಅಂದ್ರೆ point C. ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. Gateway of samskara formation is point C. Now the question comes, a baby which is born, what likes and dislikes can a baby have? There are no strong likes and dislikes for the baby, no? So suppose when you give, say 10 toys to a baby, and the baby picks up some toys and starts playing, is it because it is liking it, or is it because it is just doing it naturally? If it is natural, then which point is getting activated? If it is liking, which point is getting activated? Anybody can answer. See, as we grow, we develop strong likes and dislikes. And our likes and dislikes actually lead what we choose to do in our life. Right? So, in other words, as we grow, the point C becomes pretty strong, and that actually leads our life. What about a baby? A baby has no strong like or dislike. It is still not yet conditioned to like something strongly or dislike something strongly. Nothing is there. It is just natural. So if you give 10 toys to the baby, which point is activated, if at all? Definitely there are no strong likes and dislikes. So it cannot be point C. So what else is activated?
No other point.
Some point is activated because you have given the toys and the baby has picked up the toys. It might not be because of liking and disliking. What are toys?
Material.
Material things. So when the baby picks up the material things and starts playing with it, which point is activated now?
Point A.
Point A.
But it is towards material likes and dislikes, isn't it?
It is about material things. It's about worldly thoughts. Likes and dislikes are mainly related to point C. It's not that it's about material likes and dislikes, so it's point A. No. Likes and dislikes about anything is point C. But if we are now talking about the stage where the strong likes and dislikes are not yet formed or taken hold of the system, then what? After the likes and dislikes have been formed strongly, it is the point C that gets activated first. Because everything that we do, for example, if you go to a marriage hall, okay, one of you people are going to get married in the next 1 or 2 years, we're going to call us and we come to the dining hall. What is it that we're going to eat? We are going to eat the food that we like, no? So if you don't like some food, we'll say, no, I don't want it, right? So our entire eating in the dining hall is directly related to what we like or what we don't like. So in other words, when you actually gradually come out of the strong likes and dislikes, you actually become flexible to try new things that they have done in the marriage hall. When you are really fixated to likes and dislikes, you don't want to try any new things. Now, I cannot guarantee that in your marriages, you will definitely create some new things. I don't know about it. But if you have done, ordered some new things for us to try, we will be hesitant to try because our likes and dislikes are so strong. Only when the likes and dislikes come down to a certain extent, we can become flexible. Then we are open to trying new things. So one of the things that you can look at is if a person is flexible, we can say to a certain extent the point C is also kind of mellowed down. The likes and dislikes are there, it is not too strong. When the likes and dislikes are too strong, the person becomes very rigid and inflexible. And one of the things that you actually develop in first point is flexibility and acceptance. So flexibility and acceptance can come only when the point C's intensity of vibrations come down. Does it make sense? So you start looking for a bride and you have a list of qualifications that you want. After looking for the bride for some time, after that you start compromising. Oh, this is unessential, this is optional, this is not compulsory. In other words, the strong likes and dislikes is now gone. You are now becoming more and more flexible, more and more accepting, maybe of the other person's deficiency also, right? So you take a holistic view rather than a view which is based on just your likes and dislikes. Bharat has just now disappeared to verify his list of likes and dislikes. Now that he's starting the process. Does it make sense? So I'm just giving you practical examples. See, at different stages, we go through some of these examples naturally. It happens automatically. Right? So with peer pressure, many of the adolescents actually end up trying many different things because of the peer pressure. Not that they have a strong liking and disliking for it, but there's a certain degree of flexibility that is there with the teenage. And that flexibility sometimes can actually lead us in the wrong way also. I don't know what list Bharat saw. He disappeared for a moment and then came back, and now he's become very serious. Now he is not sure what to make optional of the list that he's got.
Brother, your voice is slow today. That's-
What is slow?
Your voice is very slow.
Voice is very slow, huh? Oh, so it doesn't, you are not feeling that energy. But you are actually, you are in slow motion. Can
No,
other
there seems to
people
be
see?
some
Bharat
network.
is in slow motion. Can you people see?
No, there seems to be some network issue.
Ah, So, Bharat, it is because of the network issue.
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't see any one of you.
Is it? Alright, we
Yeah,
can see all of you.
I think there are two problems.
What is the problem?
Ganeshan brother has internet issues. Bharat has volume issues. He told volume is low. Uh,
But Ganesh is actually appearing in a slow motion for me.
yes, yes. Their internet has some problem.
No, not Ganesh. Bharat is also in a slow motion. Ganesh is okay, but Bharat is in very slow motion. You know, in the 1970s, there is a new technology where they would picturize the song with the hero and heroine running in slow motion. And that was a very big technology in the 1970s. So, Bharat, can you think of a song when the hero and heroine are going in slow motion? There are quite a few Kannada songs in that way. ಏ ನಾಚಿಕೆ ಏನು ಪಟ್ಕೋಬೇಡ ನೀನು ಹಾಡು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳು ಹಾಡು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ ಒಂದು ಫೇಮಸ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡು ಮದುವೆ ಆಗೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಯಾವ ಹಾಡು ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಬಾರೆ ಬಾರೆ ಚಂದದ ಚೆಲುವಿನ ತಾರೆ ಬಾರೆ ಬಾರೆ ಒಲವಿನ ಚಿಲುಮೆಯ ಧಾರೆ ನಾಗರಹಾವು ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಸರಿನಾ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಬಿಗ್ ಹಿಟ್ ದ ಸಾಂಗ್ is still famous and you can utilize this song when you go and see somebody. So learn this song. It's a nice song. ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತೀಯಾ ಭರತ್ ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹಾಡಿರೋದು ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಇಫ್ ಎನಿ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಸಿಂಗ್ everyone is quiet nobody wants to answer everyone is in slow motion today ಭರತ್ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತೀಯಾ
Just casual.
ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತೀಯಾ ನಾನು ಕೇಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ನ ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳಿದ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀನ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಹಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಯಾವುದು ಹಾಡು ಗಣೇಶನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೀನ್ and Sudha sister also is very quiet today. So do you sing also, sister? I think Tamil is lot of people learn classical music, no? Carnatic.
I sing, brother.
See? Chupa Rustum Nikla. Chupa Rustum Nikla. Ganeshan, you also sing? I think lot of Tamil traditional families have exposure to classical music.
I don't think, but I learned Mridangam.
What did you learn?
Mridangam.
Oh, you also play Mridangam, huh? So I also play Mridangam.
Oh, but not professional, but to some extent.
Okay. So it is very, very pertinent. Many of the traditional Tamil families or traditional even families in Karnataka also, there is some exposure to either dance, Bharatanatyam or classical music, either singing, vocal or instrumental. So one of the things will be there, generally, traditionally. Anyway, Bharat has disappeared to find out his instrument. Which instrument shall I play or which song shall I sing?
No, actually, I'm trying to do some settings.
Settings change ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಆಯ್ತು ಏನು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ತಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ನೀನು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನೀನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸೊ ನಾಟ್ ಟು ವರಿ ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳು ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನೀನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ
That is what it's.
ಹಾ ನಾಗರಹಾವು ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಅದು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊ ಸರಿನಾ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ನೈಸ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವೆರಿ ಸೂದಿಂಗ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ಕಂಫರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಸರಿನಾ ಸರಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇನ್ ಟ್ಯೂನ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಸ್ಲೋ ಮೋಷನ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಹಿಮ್ The song goes well with the slow motion. So anyway, so the point is strong likes and dislikes in point C makes you very rigid and inflexible at point 1. So the strong liking and disliking has to come down. The liking and disliking should not be to such an extent where you become insistent. When we become too insistent, we are actually creating samskaras. When we are giving some suggestions and open to whether the suggestion is taken or not, then we are not creating any samskaras. Does it make sense? Yeah. So you are free to give suggestions, but you are not free to be insistent. Now, generally, as we grow in spirituality, our willpower develops. So, just our suggestion itself is sufficient to change the course of the event. We don't need to be insistent. When our willpower is weak, we have to become insistent and we actually create more samskaras. When we go higher, our willpower becomes stronger. So, our suggestions itself will have an impact so that we don't need to become insistent. In other words, the stronger willpower actually helps in preventing some of the samskara formation because you don't need to be insistent on anything. Just your suggestion or thought in that particular direction, the sankalpa in that particular direction can actually work wonders. Is that okay? So that's what happens as you go higher and higher.
One question, brother.
No, 1 minute. Before you ask the question, there was some noise behind. What was that noise? It was not my thing echoing. It was something else. Okay, go ahead, brother.
This is so our birth is based on the samskara, right? But whereas the environment, it keeps changing. So there is no link between the environment and the samskara. Like even if they if we clean our samskara completely, but environment can still teach me something. So there is a possibility I can create a samskara again on that topic. So it's a cycle. Like I continue to create and remove, create and remove, create and remove.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Until unless you learn to be in a state where you don't create samskaras. That's possible. You can lead a life where the creation of the samskaras stop. Now don't confuse that. Just because the creation of the samskaras stop, people confuse that with not doing any activity at all in life. You can still act but not create any samskaras. That is heartful living, where you can act and do what is necessary in life, but still not create any samskaras. Okay, so the art of living system. This is exactly what they're talking about. How do you live artfully in such a way that you can do all the activities in life, but not necessarily create samskaras? They don't talk about it in this way, but you can use that particular word, the art of living, to mean this. Living in such a way that you don't form samskaras. Now, many people equate the non-formation of samskaras to inactivity. Now, that's a very crude interpretation of non-formation of samskaras, being inactive. Now, when you are inactive, even if your mind is active, you can create samskaras. Many people equate that inactivity to the physical level. So, if you are physically inactive, you are not forming samskaras. But they forget that even when the person is physically inactive, the mind is still active. So, samskara formation can't continue to occur at the level of the mind. So, if you prolongedly think about any particular thing, you are forming samskaras. If you munch on a certain things that you have got in the subconscious mind and go on adding emotions to it, you are forming samskaras. So there are things that you can do at the mental level to create samskaras, although At a physical level, you might be inactive. But then again, remember, equating non-formation of samskaras to inactivity is the wrong approach. It's a very crude approach. Okay, so we need to have a better approach where we are physically and mentally doing what we are supposed to do in this life without necessarily creating samskaras. Now, that is the real trick. That is the real jigsaw puzzle that youngsters have to solve. Do all the activities in life, whatever is necessary at different stages of life, but not get entangled in samskaras. So, if the rate of samskara formation comes down because of this awareness, then all that you need to do is go on shedding the samskaras of the past. So day by day, you become more and more purer and purer. The more purer you become, the more sensitivity you develop. The more discriminative ability, viveka, you develop. The more viveka you develop, the more higher will be the willpower that you develop. So they all feed into one another. Just creating a stage of non-formation of the samskaras or even decreased formation of the samskaras actually hastens our journey in the direction of the goal. And that's the importance of reading this particular topic. You need to learn to understand how do samskaras get formed, what is it that we can do to prevent the formation of the samskaras so that a big load of future formation of the samskaras can actually be stopped, and all that we have then have to do is to clear out the samskaras of the past. So in other words, samskaras as a topic is a very broad topic. If you get a very good hang of this particular topic, you can utilize that for multiplying the pace of your journey in spirituality. Bulk of the things why people actually slow down in their journey in spirituality is because of not being aware how the samskaras are formed and inability to rightly handle the samskaras. This is one of the biggest reasons. Many of the people are not even aware what they are doing and its impact in terms of the samskara formation. So it's a very, very important, say two things if you can handle it very well as you grow spiritually. One, learning to handle desires. Second, learning to handle the topic of samskara. I think if you can learn these two things, you would have done yourself a world of good to hasten your journey in spirituality. Okay. So very important
So,
topics. Desires and samskaras.
so
Go ahead.
desires as such is not a bad as we express it. Since I do not know how to handle the desire, probably I need to look into a little more deeper and then work on it. And another question is, desire is the one which is causing the activity, right? Then the inactivity which we spoke, like being inactive, it's a crude way of expressing samskara, you said, right? So desire is the cause of the activity, but if I cutting the desires, my activity is also reduced. So at the same time, formation of samskara is also like I didn't get that part. Like, no, I am reducing the activity by cutting the desires.
I did not connect the two, desires and samskaras. You have connected the two with inactivity in between. I only said that these are two important topics that needs to be looked at. Now, whether you want to look at it separately, whether you want to look at it together, that's your choice. That's part of the learning.
No, I am referring to the previous point you said. No, the inactivity, being inactive is not a right practice.
But you can never get rid of the desires. What is the big desire?
Reaching the goal.
The union of the soul with the Supreme Soul is the big desire. As long as that is not fulfilled, you will be compelled to have desires. So don't worry about it. The soul will compel you to have desires because its goal is not fulfilled. Now you cannot suppress the desires. That's the wrong way of handling the desires. So that's one of the things that people have tried in the past to suppress the desires. So there is a suppression of the desire, there is a repeated fulfillment of the desires. Both are equally wrong. A better approach is sublimate the desire. For you to sublimate the desire, change the direction of the desire. That is called a sublimation. Sublimation of the desire. When you sublimate the desire, then the desire actually is actually very helpful for your own spiritual growth. Okay, so we have to spoken 3 ways of handling the desires, and had given one talk to Gopal Krishna in one of the journeys about handling all the 6 or 7 ways of handling the desires, 6 or 7 ways of handling the samskaras. Gopal Krishna, you need to look at your notes. Okay, so these are fundamental things that we need to know. Okay, these are the ways in which I can handle desires. These are the ways in which I can actually handle samskaras. And then you should be aware of making the right choice for the right moment. Now, you cannot use the same choice of handling desires or the samskaras all the time. It should be tuned into that particular specific set of circumstance. Now, for that, you require awareness, and for that, you require meditation. You got the point? Even if you look at it from a perspective of, because otherwise, trying to choose a particular way of handling the desire becomes effortful. Now, if any activity is effortful, at some point of time, you'll get tired. So, you have to make it effortless. But if you have to make it effortless, the choice has to occur automatically. If the choice has to occur automatically, then awareness should be there to make the choice automatically. And to grow the awareness, again, you require meditation. Right? So, very simple example. Now, we were talking about earlier youngsters and the marriage and all, dying. Suppose they go to see a bride. How do they make a choice? So, we can ask them only. If they're okay, they can tell. When the choice occurs automatically, it's so much easier, no? Otherwise, you have to ponder on the mind. Is it okay? Is this not okay? Is this okay? Is this point to be considered? This point not to be considered? All these things. It's a bit confusing, taxing on the mind. If it's something comes straight from the heart, you don't look at any other factors. You just say yes, that's it. Or you just say no. It becomes very easy to make the decision making. Right? So you can try it out and let us know your experience, both of you.
So instead of noting down the checklist somewhere, you note it down in the heart, and heart tells you.
So when you actually develop, do meditation, what is happening there? Your heart is expanding. The consciousness in the heart is expanding. That's why your awareness expands, and awareness comes in handy in making the decision. That's when it becomes more automatic. The need for the mind to give too much of input is reduced. Right? So if you take the heart and mind complex as one, and if the mind is like 90% and heart is 10%, as and when the heart expands, the mind becomes 80%, heart becomes 20%. To that extent, the decision making becomes easy. When the heart becomes 50-50, then both are equally contributing. When the heart becomes 60 and the mind becomes 40, then it's the heart which takes over the decision making in life. But I'm just warning you, you can give heart to only one person. So just because the heart is expanded, you cannot say, I'll give my heart to 10 people now, because it's anyway expanded. I can give part of it to this person, part of it to that person. So I'm warning you. So remember. So even if your heart is expanded, you can only give to one person, not more than that. Sarina? Sorry. It's an interesting thing. I've given you 2 questions to ponder on. These are 2 fundamental questions that you need to ponder on as far as your growth in spirituality is concerned, about desires and about samskaras. And whether they are actually related, not related, when they become related, all these things you need to work out. Okay. So the vibrations, ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ after the cleaning, and the cleaning method clears these disturbances. What disturbance? Psychological and emotional disturbances. I said. Yes, said Daji. As a result, our psychological profile normalizes and our emotions becomes balanced and our mind ceases to fixate on a particular emotion. Underline this. What is the effect of cleaning? Our psychological profile normalizes. Our emotions becomes balanced and our mind ceases to fixate on that particular emotion. What happens when we don't have a method to clean ourselves? I asked. Have you ever seen what happens to a field when it is left unattended? He asked. It becomes overgrown, I said, and it eventually turns back into forest, said Darji. When samskaras are not removed, they develop unabated, they continue to strengthen and give rise to or give birth to new samskaras. So Gopal Krishna was talking about new learnings yesterday. You remember the new learnings that you're talking about? Or I was also surprised where this is coming from. That is because of that. When we put in lot of learnings into the subconscious mind, they start actually making connections. And then we realize that our learning is far more deeper than what we initially thought because of the interconnections that develop. Very similarly, the samskaras also get interconnected to give rise to new samskaras. Okay? How does this process occur? Suppose you are walking down the street one day and a stranger insults you. Does that insult affect you or not? It depends on you. One person laughs it off, but another person wants to fight. Somebody else might brood all over it day long. So we see that while certain people may react to a particular stimulus, others will not. Amongst those who do not react, their reactions can be different, even when the stimulus is the same. If each person can have a unique reaction to a same stimulus or no reaction at all, can you pin the entire blame on that stimulus? Stimulus is the same. How you handle, how you deal is different. So it's nothing to do only with the stimulus. There is something else. No, I said. It's a combination of stimulus and something inside you that prompts your reaction. Please underline this. It's a combination of the stimulus and something inside you that prompts your reaction. Exactly. Unless you are already predisposed to be affected by that type of stimulus, it cannot have any effect on you. That something inside you is your samskara. So when you have a particular set of samskara and a particular set of stimulus comes, you tend to react because they come in tandem, working together. You see, for all the mental and the emotional states, there are primal and proximal causes. Underline this. Primal and proximal causes. They sometimes ask about this in the exams. The primal cause is the inner influence or the subconscious influence that's already inside you, that is your samskara. The primal cause is always the samskara. The proximal cause is what differs. In that case, it represents a predisposition to react to an insult in a particular way. Suppose that the insult irritates you. The primal cause is the samskara or the impression that you causes you to become irritated. The proximal cause is the outer influence, the stimulus. It is the spark that ignites the gasoline. The proximal cause. It's an outside cause normally. That's the stimulus. The insult. I said, yes, said Daji. It can be any stimulus, but no matter what the trigger may be, you will not react without one. Your samskara, the primal or the inner cause, does not get triggered without an external stimulus or the proximal cause. Underline this. Your primal cause does not get stimulated without the proximal cause. Without a proximal cause, your irritation becomes dormant. It's like a snake in the glass lying silently waiting for the right moment or just the right environment. When when a proximal cause comes along, the samskara rolls to life. It rises up and becomes the catalyst for your reaction. Okay. So you asked how samskaras develop. The answer is that new samskaras are built on the back of the old ones. Suppose God forbid that the snake bites someone. As a result, he develops a phobia of snakes. But really, that fear is not the fear of snakes. It's the fear of death in the guise of snake. The snake bite is the proximal cause. It triggers his pre-existing samskara of fear of death. On top of that samskara, he now has a new one, the fear of snakes. So he had the fear of death, now he has the fear of snakes. That's why in psychiatry we say all fears are because of down to two fears only. Fear of life, fear of death. That's what we say in psychiatry. Eros and thanatos. Eros means fear of life. Thanatos means fear of death. All fears are just because of life and death. Fear of life and fear of death. Okay.
So, brother, this the fear which we develop is also because of the experience, right?
Designing Destiny, you
Am
have
I
read?
audible?
Designing Destiny, you have read?
Yeah, partially. I don't remember this topic.
Now go back. What is the first samskara to be formed? Is there in Designing Destiny?
Oh.
So that will give you an answer to your question. That's why I asked another question as an answer to your question. What is the first samskara to be formed? Is it based on experience? Because you said fear is based on experience. So I'm giving you the first samskara which is formed, which is not based on experience. Then the next question comes, why do we develop that first samskara? It is there in Truth Eternal also. Lalaji writes about that. And I have already described that in the process of sad. What is sad? Gopal Krishna? Gopal Krishna has heard about that sad so many times from me now. That he has become sad.
Separation, anxiety, and desire.
So S stands for separation, A for stands for anxiety, D stands for desire. So that is the root cause of anxiety and desire. If somebody were to ask, where does the big desire come from? The big desires come from this particular phenomenon called sad. So what is sad? How does it make an impact on our life? We will discuss tomorrow. But I've given you two books to refer to. If you have the time today, please refer to two books. Designing Destiny. What is the first samskara to be formed? Second, about separation, anxiety, and desire in one of the chapters in Truth Eternal by Lalaj. Okay. So two homeworks. So now Ganeshan will say better to exit now. If I hang around, I'll get more homeworks.
Brother, we are reading whisper message now. In that, who's mentioned venerable?
That is something for you to work on. Everyone is behind that question now.
Past 1 week, we are reading the same messages.
Exactly. So one of the things that you have to learn in the last 1 week is that when we come to a higher level, one of the souls is designated from the higher realm to work on us and to prepare us to work at the higher level. Right? See, you are an abhyasi. Now you want to gradually start working as a preceptor. So some pre-work mentor is given to you, some course trainer is given to you to prepare you to that level. Right? Likewise, when the soul comes to a higher certain level, it has to be prepared to the next level. And that occurs by the designation of one of the higher souls. So one of the higher souls will become our mentor and help us start working at a higher level to adjust to that newer level of working. Without the mentor, it becomes difficult for us to adjust to that higher level of working. Because there should be changes in the system at all levels to make it possible to work at the higher levels. Okay? So, some position or some responsibility is given in the mission. Some amount of training is also given, some guidance is also given how to go about doing the work. Okay? So, 7:20. We'll catch up tomorrow then. So, two books, if anybody can refer, please refer and let me know which chapters these are in. Okay? Have a nice day. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Bharat has escaped to review his list now.
Going well.
Bye then.
Thank